Yeah, Chris.
He's a backup.
What it is?
He's a backup.
Yep, he's a backup.
He's a backup.
Bryce is a
He's a
backup.
backup.
He's a backup.
That's fine.
Don't let the
That
final
is
stats
okay.
fool you.
We drafted a backup number 1 overall.
Yep.
Traded away DJ Moore.
Yep.
And a first-round pick.
Yep.
Or
And a
backup.
second-round pick.
We're backup.
Yep. Let's get this sucker started.
Get dialed in, Panthers fans. Here comes an in-depth look at your team. Exclusive interviews. Locker room insight. Ready? Let's huddle up.
Let's just do it, okay?
For Panthers Playbook, driven by Carolina Ford Dealers. Here are your hosts, Dennis Cox and Chris Lea.
Welcome back to another episode of Panthers Playbook. That's Chris Lea, Dennis Cox here with you. Just go and leave your thoughts on Bryce Young in the comment section down below. Before we get into that, Panthers Playbook presented by our friends over at Carolina Ford Dealers. With the Ford F-150 on your team, it's game on. See your Carolina Ford dealer today. All right, Chris, I know people are going to look at Bryce Young's stats and say, oh, hey, look at that. Like, hey, 224 yards, a couple touchdowns, couple interceptions. Let's take this into consideration, folks. Context. 153 of Bryce Young's passing yards came after they were down 28-7, when the other team's just like, hey, let's just get out of here. So let's take that into consideration before we actually start just doing box score breakdowns. Let's be honest. The guy is a backup. You said it, Chris. He's a backup quarterback.
And it's sad. Like I'm trying not to go too hard on it, because it's not like
go hard.
It's not like
Pause.
It was a horrible game, right? We've seen worse from Bryce.
Yeah.
It wasn't a horrible game, but
Yeah.
also like the main thing that I was thinking about, because we didn't really have this last year. We had just one game from Andy Dalton that he started.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, now we had 5 games from Andy Dalton. And now we were able to really see what this offense looks like with the same offensive line, the same running backs, the same tight ends, the same wide receivers, but with a different quarterback for 5 games. And it just looks completely different. And last year, again, with just the one game, we could say, 3 games into his season, into his career, actually in the NFL, then you put in this veteran who's been in the NFL for, 13, 14 years, whatever it was at that point. Of course, it's going to look different. But now Bryce Young has a full year under his belt. We're looking at the same offense with the same weapons and how it looks completely different. And we saw Andy Dalton against different types of defenses making it happen. And so this isn't saying that Bryce Young is horrible. I still think that there are some things he could still develop with. And I think that there are times that he could possibly be a serviceable starter when the actual starter is injured. Yeah. But he is not the number one guy.
No, he's not.
I'm sorry.
He's not.
And it's just like, we saw it. I tweeted about it. The operation is slower under him. Panthers, were very close to getting some delay of penalty games, a delay of game penalties.
They did have 2.
Yeah.
Nearly back-to-back plays. Just about.
And, because the operation is so much slower, he still isn't processing very well. He towards the end, when the defense backed up, that's when he was a little bit more sure of himself in his arm and went down the field. He was still checking it down, not stretching the defense at all. He was getting himself sacked.
Yeah. He did that a couple times.
He
did that himself a couple times.
It's like it's clear. Andy Dalton barely got sacked in 5 games.
Yeah.
It's just clear at this point.
And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, he didn't have Deontay Johnson today, didn't have Adam Thielen today. But we saw him with Deontay Johnson and Adam Thielen games 1 and 2. And Adam Thielen only played 1 half with Andy Dalton this season. It doesn't matter. And here's the thing. We've said it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No excuses for Bryce. We said that at the beginning of the season, right? No excuses. And you had a good opening drive. You had a pretty good opening drive. I was like, oh, okay. All right.
After
maybe
the defense
he
forced
something.
the fumble, forced the turnover. Good,
I was like,
good stuff.
maybe this is the prove it. And he ended up proving that he is a backup quarterback. That's where we are. And the big question we have going forward is, we're going to have to run this out the rest of the season in some way, shape, or form, because guess what? If Andy Dalton's thumb still isn't any better, well, then guess what? You're going to be playing Bryce, and then it's going to be Dalton or Bryce the rest of the year. And then after this year, who the hell knows? That's where we are. We're at who the hell knows.
Here's what I'll say too, though. Pretty good first opening drive. Remember, he only had half the field to go.
That's true.
Did throw a touchdown pass to Xavier Legette. But I'll say this. He had better weapons with Xavier Legette and Jalen Coker than what he did last year.
Yeah, that's very true.
With DJ Chark and Adam Thielen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm not saying this is against Adam Thielen at all, but like this is definitely against DJ Chark for sure.
Yeah, well, there's that too.
For sure.
And Jonathon Mingo. But and Jonathon Mingo. Like that guy, you don't talk about also done with that guy. Also done with him. I see
another space where we could save some money next year.
Yeah, that won't be that very hard, especially the way Jalen Coker played. I'm not going to lie. Jalen Coker made some phenomenal catches today, including that one they had down the left sideline, the one down the middle. Like, he had literally had the two longest passing plays today were to Jalen Coker.
Yes.
29 yards, 26 yards, and he had a touchdown pass that he caught there late as well. Like, dude, like, that you want to talk about a young man maximizing his opportunities. Jalen Coker's doing it. He really is. And there are very, very few things that we can point to this Panthers roster right now, Chris, after this 28-14, which, let's be real, it wasn't even close game against the Denver Broncos. Wasn't even close. There are very few pieces on this roster that we can still say going forward, like, yeah, there's a guy I want to keep. There's one. I would say Jalen Coker is definitely one I want to keep. Obviously, we know Legette's a guy we want to keep.
I would say besides quarterback, most of the pieces on offense, I'm cool with keeping. Mm-hmm. Again, if we end up keeping Miles Sanders and he's more of a slot receiver and you can use him out the backfield sometimes, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, they're going to save money. They need to save the money. He's gone. Yeah.
I agree with you, but I'm saying if they were to end up keeping him and figure out ways to save money in other ways, okay. It's not like he's the most horrible player. Now, if you're using him as RB1,
nah, definitely not that.
Nah.
Yeah. And here's also something that we want to figure out going forward. It's like, all right, Dave Canales is a head coach.
Yeah.
Where are we going to see improvement from you? The fourth down play that they went for when it was, if I remember correctly, it was 21-7.
Me and you disagreed about this.
You didn't like the fact that they went for it. I was like, look, I was cool with the fact because we've seen him be aggressive this year. It's not about the decision. It's about the play that they called. Where it was like, is it an option read to Chuba where Bryce kept it and he tries to throw this pass thing to the left side to Miles Sanders to the short side of the field where there's no room to work? I'm like, dude, Canales, why do you continue to get cute with the play calling at times? Like, seriously, you 4th and 2, meat potatoes the damn thing, and run the ball. Like, that's it. Meat and potatoes the thing. You got Chuba Hubbard. Line up and run it. That's it. Don't get freaking cute because that stuff happens. You're not good enough to get cute. You're not.
See, the way that I think about it is this. You said this before, Dennis, like, know your personnel.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're first off, you don't have the type of offense, especially with Bryce Young in there, that a lot of times when you need those hard 2 yards against a stout defense like that you'll be able to really get that. Like, when have the Panthers consistently shown that this year or last year, right? So know your personnel. Then also you don't have the defense that, you know what? If we don't get this, I feel like you guys can make them punt or hold them to a field goal. Yeah. We don't have that defense.
No, you
so
don't.
Like, for me, it's like, no, the clear choice was to punt it. And if let's say they happen to get a decent return, they get it to the 30, well, your defense is defending 70 yards instead of 50 yards behind them. I'd take that over going for the 2 and going for the 2 yards on the 4th down and not getting it. That's for me. Now, I agree with you on going forward if you have the team to do that with. We don't have the team to do that with. I'm sorry.
No, you don't. Actually, it was 14-7 at that point. My mistake. It was 14-7. The Broncos went down and scored and made it 21-7 at that point. And also the fake punt, like way down in your own end, the fake punt as well. I was like, okay, if Johnny Hekker makes that completion to Sam Franklin, who's open, you still got like 65 yards to go to score a touchdown. It's like, it's not like you're going to set yourself up in field goal range or get a shot for the end zone. I didn't quite fully understand that either, but you know what? It's just, maybe it's just, again, first time head coach. I wonder if there's just so much on his plate right now because he's trying to call plays, which is only the second year he's ever done that. And he's also trying to be a first-year head coach. You're still trying to figure out two major things all at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't think it's working right now. I really don't think it's working.
It's not. I'll say this. Yes, the game was a little bit out of hand. 28-7 is, of course that's not the final, but it was, let's say it's really 28-7.
Mm-hmm.
That's not like crazy. It's not as crazy as 40-7. So in that way, Dave Canales improved a little bit, right? Because the team didn't get absolutely blown out the.
Here's the thing: like Denver, I think if they really wanted to, because I felt like Denver was just kind of toying with them.
Here's the part that I was going to bring up though. This game really triggered me in certain ways because it reminded me of different reasons why I really despise Sean Payton as a head coach.
Yeah, there's
First off, his little fish lips get on my nerves. Like when you see him calling his plays and usually, and then the way he holds like his little short like arms, his little short T-Rex arms as he's holding his. Like I don't know. Everything about Sean Payton gets on my nerves, and then at the end of the game, they're like tossing it all over the field. They're going for fake field goals. They're going for these like, fake punts and all this. Like he's like literally emptying out the playbook,
the double passes
for the Carolina Panthers when you already have the game in hand and the only thing you have to do is just run it. And I'm so glad they got a turnover at the goal line. Yeah. So it wasn't 35-7 at the end of the game. Like I'm so glad they did that. Because Sean Payton really gets on my nerves. Like, he's just, you might want to hit the button. He's such a, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Just going to leave it at that. All in all, this team is what it is, even though Josie Jewell was back, even though Jadeveon Clowney was back, A'Shawn Robinson, who, by the way, had 2 sacks today. Hey, he had a couple.
Good game.
Hey, first time we really saw him. In
Mr. A'Shawn.
Week 8
thing today, boy.
We finally see you. Week 8. He had a couple sacks today.
Hey, you know what?
Jadeveon
Clowney, I think, had a pretty good game today too.
He was noticeable.
This was the game where he was noticeable, and I felt like he was effective because, like, you could really see where he would change, like Javonte Williams. Like, I can't go over there. Go over to another, hole and get tackled or whatever. Like you could really see that to me in this game when it comes down to Jadeveon Clowney. So, good game for him.
All in all, this team is abysmal. It's not good. It's not pretty. And the biggest thing, once again, that's proven is Bryce Young is a backup quarterback. He had his chance to prove it today. And he didn't. He had a chance to prove, like, hey, you know what? Actually, I can't be the guy. I can't be a starting quarterback in this league. And the only thing he did prove is that he's not.
You know what today did prove, though?
What?
There is, like, I know that, like, they lost. Things are looking bad. They're 1-7. But as far as, like, if you get the right quarterback and if Dave Canales is a little bit better with his play calling, and also I want to see what the Panthers look like with 2 really good running backs. I hope Jonathan Brooks comes in soon, and I hope he looks good. That this offense can be really good if it grows together over the next few years. Because you're talking about 2 young receivers in Legette and Coker who look pretty good today. Mm-hmm. Then you're talking about Jadeveon Sanders, who looked okay today. And then also with Jonathan Brooks, if he's able to come back, I think if they can get back Tommy Tremble, who's I think he's on the last year of his contract as well, because
he is
4 years in. Mm-hmm. Tommy, he's not going to beat a bunch of people, but he's got a couple of plays in him per game. He's got a couple of plays in him per game. This is a team that could build and get better and better and better if they were to do the right things in the offseason to help themselves out to move forward. I think the future is bright. You just got to get the right quarterback.
Exactly. You just have to find the right QB, which
they don't have that right now.
They don't have that at all. And that's the biggest question that they have. And I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if it's drafting. I don't know if it's the free agent market.
It might be.
It
might be drafting at this point.
I don't know. I don't even know if I'm a big fan of any of these quarterbacks. Like, no one's really talking about, like, oh, this is the surefire guy, or that guy's the one you got to get, or like, hey, these two guys. No one's saying that about this year's class, really. It's like,
what's the free agent market looking like? I know it's not good, but
Andy Dalton. That's it. That's the free agent class. Andy Dalton.
I was gonna say I got a feeling that
maybe?
Daniel Jones might be available after this year. Come home to Charlotte, Daniel Jones.
Carolina Ford Dealers, your sponsor of Panthers Playbook.
Come on home to Charlotte. Let's
With
do
the Ford
it.
F-150 on your team, it's game on. See your Carolina Ford dealer today.
Man, you can do that with your eyes closed. Man, it's kind of like how Daniel Jones throws passes. Come on home to Charlotte. It can't be as bad as what we have right now.
Oh, God.
It can only get a little bit better. Like an emphasis on a little bit. A little serviceable improvement.
We'll see you guys.
Maybe next year, by the time we get through 8 games, we'll be 2-6 with Daniel Jones.
We'll see you guys on Thursday.